Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Total Podcast with me, your host, Phil Scott. On this episode of the Total Podcast, I have a very special guest. She is a book author, but she is so much more, and I can't wait to get into all of this with her. So, without further delay, let's hook up with our guest. So, our guest today is Kathleen Kastner. So, Kathleen, thank you so very much for being on the podcast today. I truly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Phil. It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, first of all, let's start with your background. Where were you born? Where did you go to school? And then we'll talk about the book and how your series of Karma Cats books evolved, and we'll just go from there. So let's start from where you were born and where you went to school.
That sounds great. Well, I'm actually from Kansas. I was born and raised in a town called Salina, Kansas. And then I went to the University of Kansas, Jayhawks, if anybody's a college basketball fan.
Huh?
And I went there, I have an undergrad in journalism because I love to write. And I also have a master's degree in exercise physiology through the School of Education. So I was always into health and wellness, and I ended up going back to grad school for that. And that's what I ended up doing with my degree. I actually moved to San Diego right after college. I took a leap of faith with a friend. I worked for Sharps Hospital here in San Diego and doing exercise physiology. And then I got introduced to yoga at this age. So this is 30 years ago. I'll date myself.
Uh-huh.
And all I knew was fitness because I'm from Kansas. No one's ever talked to me about yoga. And so, anyways, I got introduced to yoga and it literally like changed my whole life. It just transformed everything about my life for the better. It changed my health, it changed my diet, it changed my relationships, my relationship with God. It just really, and I was terrible at it, but I just felt so great when I left yoga class that I ended up, it's a very long story, I ended up going back to the Midwest to Kansas City, Missouri. I'm adopted and I ended up meeting my biological mom who lived in Kansas City, and all my college friends were there because KU and Kansas City are very close. So I ended up moving back and opened one of Kansas City's first yoga studios in 1999
Wow.
with a partner. And so it was really fun because, we got to work for ourselves, and it didn't happen overnight. I would do exercise phys by day, started teaching yoga at night, and then after a couple years I did take a leap of faith and quit my day job and opened this studio. And it was really fun. People were very receptive for the Midwest, which you wouldn't think that would be the case. And 3 years into it, though, it burned. It didn't really even burn down; it burned up,
Oh,
which seems tragic at the time, but it actually set me out to go out on my own. I opened my own studio at that time, so I did that for 16 years in Kansas City, Missouri. I was a yoga studio owner, and then 11 years ago, I actually sold it to move out here with my husband, who was also a yoga teacher. So we've been living in Encinitas, California now, which is what I call my soul place, my soul city, for 11 years, and we're very happy here. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. And then I started writing the books. I had written two nonfiction books for adults. One was on dating, because I didn't meet my husband until I was 39, so I wanted to help other people who were looking for their husband.
uh-huh.
It's called The Cheerleader Speaks. And then the second one I wrote on weight loss, because I actually witnessed more people lose weight from doing yoga than I ever did when I was in the fitness field. So I wrote a book called Yoga's Path to Weight Loss. That's kind of my own theories of why yoga works. It really helps people heal their relationship with their body, heal their relationship with food, which is very important, and it definitely cultivates a relationship with God, with the divine, whatever that means to people. So I had done those books, and I had these two wonderful soulmate cats throughout this whole journey, really, since 2001. I love to share their pictures because they sit on my desk. I don't know, hopefully people can see it. This is Julian and Oliver,
Yes.
and they are the Karma Cats. I got them when they were 5 weeks old in Kansas City, Missouri. Someone had found them and their mother, thank goodness, and brought them to a vet office where I was going. And so that's how I got Julian and Oliver. So they were with me through all my transitions, the studio burning down, me moving to California, getting married, everything. So they passed. Julian lived to be 17 and Oliver lived to be 20, which is incredible. So I had them since they were 5 weeks to that. And it was just, I don't have my own children. So it was, for me, it was like the greatest blessing of my life was being their mom. So when they passed, I really took it hard. And like I said earlier, I just say it kind of quickly so I don't start crying, because they will always be the greatest loves of my life. They were my soulmate pets, my dearest and greatest friends, and I do feel them still with me. They actually have had them come to me in dreams, so I have peace finally, knowing that they are safe with God and that I will be with them for eternity. That's my belief system. So that gives me hope. And so when Oliver passed, that was the end of a huge era for me. And my boys have passed. I've sold my studio. Like, who am I? I'm in my early 50s. I'm like, who am I without yoga, without my boys? So I started writing the Karma Cats. My first one is called Karma Cats to the Rescue. This is Julian and Oliver. And when Julian passed, we actually got a new cat named Noah. And that helped Oliver, because Oliver was super sad without his best friend brother. So I like to share Noah because Noah was a street cat and we adopted him from our shelter. I've been a shelter volunteer for over 10 years in the cat room. And so I had adopted Noah from our shelter, and he was a bit of a wild man, which is what his story is based on. He tried to break out through a window, he escaped through doors. And so he was a street cat, and someone had picked him off and put him in the shelter for 5 weeks. So he was like ready to roam. So we started leash walking him. And I show this because the long story was 5 years after we got him, I entered him into Newsweek's Pet of the Year for his leash walking skills. And he miraculously won. So now
Wow.
Noah's been on the news. He's been in a couple newspapers here in San Diego. So my Noe, who I call him my Noe, is in Karma. This is him. He is in my first book, which is probably going to always be my favorite. Karma Cats to the Rescue is about Julian and Oliver helping Noah adjust to being into our family. So it's a really fun, adventure, sweet story, really based on a lot of true things. So that was great that Noah really helped Oliver, and it extended Oliver's life to be 20 almost. So we feel very blessed. And then now when Oliver passed, we have 2 white kittens that are actually, I'll just show you in another book.
Awesome.
I can talk to you guys all day. I hope somebody out there likes cats.
Aw.
So Karma Cats Kitten Adventure, we have 2 rescues from Tijuana. This is Elijah Blue and Olivia Sue, and she's very special. She has one eye, and I love showing them. That is them and their
Wow.
mom. And this story is about them being street kittens, and they have been separated from their mother, who's gone to help find them food. And so the Karma Cats, there they are, chime in and help Elijah and Olivia. So that is my long cat story. So now I have Noah and the twin, the white ones.
That's wonderful. Well, tell me, in terms of writing the books, in terms of how long it took you to write each book, how long does it take you from inception to publication? And you publish your own books, correct?
Yes, I am self-published, and I like to share that with people if anybody's interested. My hardbacks are actually with Ingram Spark, because Amazon self-publishing division, Kindle Direct Publishing, does not do hardbacks for children. They do paperback. So I do my paperback with Kindle Direct Publishing on Amazon, which I highly recommend. They're super easy to work with. They actually have true phone customer service 24 hours. So they're very easy to work with. And if anybody's interested, you can write me on my website, KathleenKastner.com. I'd be happy to help. And then Ingram Spark does the hardback. And you can do both with Ingram Spark. I just choose to do it. And then an ebook. The ebook I actually do with KDP also. But it takes me about a year from beginning to end with my illustrator, who I like to brag upon. Her name's Coraline Tran. She's in Vietnam, and we're on our 5th book right now. But she's just been a real godsend. She actually has 2 cats in Vietnam, so
Wow.
she can relate to kitty cat momhood. So I write it. I have to have it done by January. That part actually doesn't really take that long. I usually have an idea of a theme. Each book has a real life animal welfare theme.
Hmm.
We have a farm one that deals with factory farming. We have Penny the pig who escapes life on a factory farm, everybody, and ends up in a sanctuary. So each theme is about something real and animal welfare, and that's why all the real animals are in the back of the book to help connect the children to the characters. So I'm at the same time trying to weave in a message of taking action for animals in need of help, because that's what the Karma Cats do, and being kind, obviously, and compassionate to animals.
And I wanted to ask you about that too, the importance of animal rescue in your life and in your books as well.
Yes, that's a great question. All my cats have been rescues, and that's just the way our family rolls. I because I am a shelter volunteer, I'd like to offer this up. In the United States, we have over 6 million cats and dogs in the shelter system,
Wow.
and about close to 690,000 last year at least were euthanized, really at no fault of their own. A lot of them, our owners surrendered, which is very tragic, and a lot of them are lost. So if they're not microchipped, and my new book, Puppy Quest, is about the importance of microchipping your pet. This is Jersey, based on my friend's real pit bull rescue, and he pulls off leash chasing after Suki the cat. And anyway, it's this adventure story of reuniting Jersey with his mom through the power of a microchip. So it's really important that everybody microchip your pets. Pets can get lost. They can walk out the door. The cleaning lady leaves the door open. That was on Next Door recently. And so a lot of things happen, and then the pets can end up in a shelter. And if no one knows who they belong to, there is a chance that they can be euthanized, sadly. So I'm a huge advocate for people adopting from shelters and rescues. And there's so many great pets just waiting for a person to give them a chance, and hopefully can keep them for life.
And now that you mentioned that, I know, especially here in San Diego, even San Diego City, especially, I mean, they're overflowing with animals. They have far too many animals and they have no owners for them, and they have just a huge need for adoptions. And as a matter of fact, I believe it's the San Diego Humane Society. There's a lady that's always on the news from the Humane Society, and she's discussing just how overcrowded it is. It's just incredible.
It is. It's really tragic. My heart goes out to the. I mean, it's just. I don't know. I don't. I hope it ends one day. That people, spaying and neutering is huge. It's huge. When we got Noah at 5, he'd been living a different part of town and was not fixed. So for 5 years, he was procreating baby
Wow.
Noes, which is so we have to get our pets spayed and neutered, even help, ferals and lost pets. I always encourage people, if you see an animal by itself, without a collar, without anything, dog or cat, to see if you can take action to help get the animal, take it to a vet, get it scanned for a chip. You can take it to 24-hour vets, emergency vets. Our shelter in Encinitas, we have actually a microchip scanner outside the front gate. So 24/7, someone can come and scan a lost pet to
Wow.
help reunite them. Yeah, because their owners are usually very worried. And the big thing with microchip, we have to all update our information. We have to update our phone number, because sometimes it will have a chip, but the
Mhm.
information will be
Outdated.
outdated.
Wow. Tell me, Kathleen, what has volunteering meant to you?
Oh, it really like touches my heart so much, because I don't know. I think I think from some odd way, because I am adopted, that I really have a lot of empathy for them. I think I would regardless, but I am there when people relinquish their animals. Sometimes it's a senior who's passed or has gone to a nursing home, and their children bring the pets. So it's very confusing. This pet, cat or dog, has gone from being with its best friend owner, and now it's sitting in our shelter environment. And some shelters are much more stressful than others. So it's very confusing. They don't understand. So I encourage all of us to have a plan for our pets when, if we pass, when we pass, so that we can help the overcrowded shelters that are already like packed. And I'm actually, I know this sounds a little harsh, I'm actually not completely against euthanasia because animals cannot live in that environment like for 10 years. You know, if it's a
Right.
packed shelter, it's just so stressful. I've watched, not at the shelter I am, but in the 90s when was in Kansas City, it was just so stressful. Just the noises all day long, and just they're just inundated with, and we'd have a row out the door, people standing with a carrier waiting to give up their pet, you know? So we really have to start with us, like as responsible pet owners, and really do everything in our power to keep them for life.
Now, also, I wanted to ask you, have you had opportunities to read your books to kids? And what has that experience been like?
Oh my gosh, that is truly my favorite thing about being a children's book author, especially preschools. I do anywhere from preschools to second grade. This week I got to do a first grade class, and I talked to them about being kind to animals. And after the story, I always ask them, "Can everybody remember one thing Julian and Oliver did to help, say, Jersey and Suki?" And so that helps them um, remember the story. And then we talk about what we can do in real life to show our pets kindness. And then I always try to take the message further into humans. What can we do to be kind to our families, to our friends, to our teachers? So because they're so young, they say such precious, unfiltered things.
Right.
Like even the little boys, like they'll come up and kiss. I have Julian and Oliver dolls. They'll come up and kiss the dolls, but then inevitably somebody always says, "Give them a hug."
Aw.
What can you do to show kindness? And they always say, "Give them a hug," whether it's a person or an animal. So it's just so precious. I want to keep them like that forever.
You know, what really strikes me about working with kids and reading to kids is just how engaging they are when you read to them and you're asking them questions. It's such a joy, and I can see why you enjoy it so much.
It is. I mean, I'll be there with them for like 30 minutes, and this isn't without any. We have a color sheet that we do after I leave of the Karma Cats and the characters, but I mean, they're like fully listening to me for 30 minutes. I'm 4-year-olds. I'm kind of blown away. My books, I try to keep them lively. Walt Disney's my muse, so I try to do like a little Disney tension. Nothing too heartbreaking, but definitely some tension to try to keep the story going, to keep them engaged
Mhm.
so that they don't wander. And there is a theory with children's books to try to keep them around 30 pages and less than 1,000 words. That's the way I was taught, which really helped me tremendously. So I try to do that, and I even keep it around 800 words for me. And I've had parents thank me for keeping them short because, and the page is only a few sentences per page.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it helps keep things flowing
Right.
as you the reader, and for them listening. So thanks for asking about the kids, because I have a big poster on my wall that they drew for me, like welcome, and
Wow.
they sign their names and stuff. So yeah, it means the world to me to get to work with the kids.
Now, I wanted to ask you also about Erin Murphy. Now, Erin's been on my podcast a couple of times. She's just been a huge uh, supporter of the show. And tell me about your interactions with her, because the last author I interviewed earlier today, as a matter of fact, Erin suggested that she be on the podcast. So it's just interesting how Erin she's just been this amazing conduit to
She
connect writers and authors to the show.
Yes, she is a powerful, powerful person. I love meeting her. We all did a giveaway with our ebooks it was about a month ago, and that's how I met Erin. So we helped network with each other to help promote the books and the giveaway. And so I love her book, by the way, and what she's doing with flying the animals from overcrowded shelters to less crowded shelters. Now, if we could keep doing that, then hopefully we don't need to euthanize anybody ever. It's just
Right.
a matter of space. So she's a huge, I mean, she's a huge animal hero. And I just listened to the interview, her most recent one. So it was really great. And she actually also helped get my books into the New Jersey Newark Airport. There is a children's lending library there. And so she is so nice. And she took a couple of my Karma Cats books to the library.
She has done so much. It's just incredible how she does it. I don't see how she does it, but she's just amazing.
I know, and I just again am such an advocate of that program of flying these pets out of overcrowded shelters because it makes a huge difference.
It does. It does. Now, I wanted to ask you, where can people, I know they can find them on Amazon, but where else can people find your books?
Yes, my books are on Barnes and Noble also, barnesandnoble.com, and my website is just my name, KathleenKastner.com. I have a shop page and I actually have some fun Karma Cats shirts for kids and bags and mugs and all kinds of cute things also to go with the books.
What is one thing that you can take away from your entire experience writing and going through and just the whole process of not only the writing but the publishing and then the interaction with the kids? What are maybe the biggest overarching thing that you've taken from all of this and just having your cats too? I mean, because that
Uh,
started everything. That's influenced
Yes,
everything you've
it
done.
did. As anybody who's had like a soulmate pet, and I know there's a lot of people out there, whether it be a dog, a rabbit, a guinea pig, a snake, we all love our pets so much. So I really, in my case, because I was very, very sad, it was like the saying, like turn that frown upside down. I had to do something positive with my experience with them because they showed me more love and compassion than anybody had ever had in my life, that I wanted to just use them as superheroes of kindness to help spread that message out into the world. The thing I've learned the most is it is hard to be an author, and I'm not, it sounds so fun and easy. It really isn't easy. I'm sure everybody would tell you that. The big thing is there are two things for me that if anybody's interested that have helped me that can really hinder your success and your experience is procrastination, obviously, but also perfectionism. This can be in any book that sometimes people won't ever release it because they think it's not good enough. And we could all just do that to ourselves all day long. And the great thing with self-publishing, if there's really something that you think absolutely has to change, you can go back and re-upload your file.
Mhm.
With us, it's a little hard because I've got paperback, I've got a hardback, and ebook. But I think I have this motto with myself. I just do, because I've actually written a Karma Cats animated TV series that I've been pitching. So I have a big dream for Karma Cats, and so I just keep telling myself not to give up because there are a lot of no's, a lot of closed doors, and I follow Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, and he said they were rejected like 144 times, and then now it's a whole gigantic soul. Well, there's every pet owner's soul. All the books in that whole series. It's a franchise, and he said for every no, there's a next. And that like really, really resonated with me because I do get no's. I get no's about everything. And so I have to cast a wider net. I think of it like real estate. If I was selling real estate, okay, I got it. So that's just I have to, because I used to be an entrepreneur, and actually owning a yoga studio was far easier than being a children's book author because I knew what was expected of me every day.
Mhm.
When you're an author, you're always like, what else should I be doing to market? There's like always like more we think we can be doing, and there usually is.
Wow, well, that's a lot of helpful information for people because I'm an aspiring book author myself too. And like you said, it's just the being persistent and not giving up. All of that is very important.
It seems like such a cliche, never give up, but it's really true. You know,
Yes.
I
Now, oh, go ahead.
well, I read something recently that a lot of people who do quit, because it's actually easy to quit. It's
Yes.
harder to persevere, but that a lot of people that quit were just so close to their breakthrough.
So it just that persistence, perseverance, it all makes a difference.
You really have to believe in yourself, even if no one in your circle does. I think this is super important. If your friends, your family, your spouse, for any reason, might not be super supportive, you just go for it anyway.
Now, tell me before we finish up our interview, your social media platforms, where can people find you?
Sure, I would love to connect with your audience. I am on Instagram at Kathleen Kastner Author. I also have Karma Cats Books. That's easy to remember. And I have a YouTube channel. I have two YouTube channels. I have one, I actually do vegan cooking. I've been vegan for a long time. Under my name, Kathleen Kastner, and then I have a Karma Cats Books channel with all my books, read alouds with all my books. And then my website is just my name, KathleenKastner.com, and I have a lot of fun information on there that hopefully can help people.
That's awesome. Kathleen, this has been such a huge honor. Thank you so very much for agreeing to do the podcast. I always love hearing everybody's different stories and their different adventures writing their books and what inspires them and motivates them. And gosh, yours is just unique. So thank you so
Oh,
very much.
thank you.